Welcome to the Church of Thomas. Marriage vows, 9/14/08. All relationships have their ups and downs. There are arguments and disagreements. There are times when illness and emotional distress impact the people in our lives. There are times where money and resources are not used the same way by people close to us. There are even times when no amount of money seems enough. One partner might hold all the money cards along with the purse strings. In our childhoods, we cannot help but become dependent on our caregivers and parents for comfort and basic needs. In friendships, we often have an ebb and flow of comfort in a more level fashion. In our choice of life mates and partners and spouses, we expect our needs to be met by the partner as equals. There is someone I know at work who constantly talks about her husband in a way I frankly find offensive. They have 3 children. They have been married for 20 years. The kids are now grown and away at college and working on their lives. When she speaks about her children, she tells of all the things she has done for them. They are good kids by all accounts and doing well in getting themselves set up as adults. She does expect something back for all she has done for them of her own free will. She once said that she was glad that her daughter had a couple of jobs so she could pay her back the money she had given her to go to college. The daughter is still in college. I asked myself why she gave the money to her daughter if it was not a gift. When her sons want to visit her apartment, which is close to the beach and nightlife, with a date, she lets them. However, there's a strange reluctance on her part. She tells us that if he wants a love nest, he should either go to a hotel or pay her the amount of staying at her place. If it bothers her, why doesn't she just say, "No, I don't want a stranger in my home"? She just complains to us about it. When the kids want to visit, they must pay her by asking her out to eat. When she wants them to visit, she bribes them by cooking their favorite dishes. She tells every female she knows to get the guy to pay for sex. She lectures at length at work that the way to make a relationship work is to keep the guy at bay, but tease the hell out of him. She then teaches these females that when the guys are willing to pay for the attention, give as little as possible since it is a valuable commodity. She calls anyone who gives affection, attention, or comfort freely to their mates or spouses a fool. Her core belief system is an emotional and sexual quid pro quo. She even treats her husband this way. I do not know if their marriage started with love or if it was an impulse. In the long run, it has turned into a glorified prostitution. Her favorite phrase is, "Show me the money." She detests her husband so much that she has moved into an apartment close to her work to be away from him. The husband, on the other hand, still thinks this is a move that is just a temporary separation because she's preparing for their new home. He still believes that believes it is just getting their next smaller place set up since the kids are all grown and they don't need the big place anymore. She will never let him move in. She's even told us this. When any man enters her personal space, she flirts outrageously, then pushes them away, joking, "What are you going to give me, man?" When they ignore her, she pushes into them to force their attention back to her. She has men buying her breakfast and sodas constantly. I have no idea if it has gotten to the point of money exchanges yet. I do not know if sexual favors are exchanged for this money. To all extent and purposes, she is already a prostitute. I do know that unless her husband brings gifts and money when he visits her in her apartment, he does not get to go to bed with her. She has had this sexual quid pro quo with her husband a very long time, maybe the entire relationship. She chortles that when she does a good job in bed, he leaves a wad of cash on her dresser in the morning. I'm very sad about this relationship. It has no earmarks of a relationship where God has any place in it. I wonder if she used the traditional vows when she married her husband. I like those vows with some personal statement attached. There is a reason that those vows are the ones most commonly used. They sum up the relationship in most of the relationship's possible ups and downs. The idea behind the marriage vows is simple. The vows acknowledge the possibility of sickness changing the dynamics of a relationship. It also points to the upside that good health should not be taken for granted, but embraced as an opportunity to build a stronger relationship. These vows remind couples that money may not always be available. In addition, I think it also points to the idea that one partner may not make as much money, thereby impacting the resources available to the couple. These vows remind us that money can also be a great divider. How many times have you heard of couples splitting up because one of them hit a huge mega million-dollar jackpot? In these days, the supposedly greener grass can look very tempting. People who you might find fascinating now find you wonderful company now that you have a little money to throw around. The relationship you are in may not stand much of a chance with these interlopers driving a wedge in the relationship. These vows also point to fidelity. The phrase forsaking all others seems to have lost a great deal in the translation over the years. It means you do not entice or encourage people who might be taking what is rightfully your mate's. This part of the vow is much more far-reaching than sex. It means sharing the good and the bad times. It means communicating your needs and desires to your mate. If the first person you reach for when things get tough is outside of your couple, you're taking from your mate. It might even mean that they have no idea that there is a problem until suddenly you just up and leave. This gives them no opportunity to work things out, to help you, to understand where you are coming from. The last part of the vows is a pale shadow of the former understanding. It states that the couple will plan to be together until they die. In this age of serial monogamy, the idea of growing old and dying together only seems to be truly sought when we have exhausted the fresh supply of healthy, rich, and tolerant potential mates. If we take the time to learn about your potential mate before hopping into bed right away, you can be more selective in your choice of who you marry. Then the idea of growing old and probably sick together and supporting each other when money problems come up is a joyous thing, not a burden some people have made it out to be. God bless the whole world. No exceptions. Angel Eliza.